Hi everyone, how you doing? Hope you've had a good day today and I hope you've been really, really good and worked really hard on all your schoolwork. I know it's a bit boring and it's a bit difficult to do when you're at home, I get that. But you need to do it because you need to be ready for when you go back to school. And that'd be good to see all your friends, won't it? So hopefully, fingers crossed, it won't be too long. So tonight's story is called A Lovely Welcome Home. So if you're all sitting comfortably, then Nana will begin. Once upon a time, the Fairy Queen had worked so hard that the king had to take her away to stay by the Dream Sea. That sounds nice, doesn't it? She was so dreadfully tired that he kept her there all summer. But what will all my fairies do without me to help them? She kept saying. Never mind that, said the king. They must get on somehow or other, and you must have a long rest. Of course, all the fairies in Fairyland missed her very much. It seemed very strange not to have someone in the palace who was always ready to listen to them or to see what work they were doing. When is our queen coming back? They asked the palace fairies. She is coming back in 2 weeks, they answered joyfully. We had a letter this morning brought by Peacock Butterfly. Hooray, hooray, shouted the fairies, and they flew off all over Fairyland as fast as they could to spread the good news. We must do something lovely to welcome her home again, said the chief of fairies. We'll hold a great meeting about it. So a meeting was held, and in the biggest hall of the palace, and hundreds of fairies came. The queen is coming home through the green beech wood, along the blackberry lanes, through the dewy field, and then up the palace gardens, said the Lord High Chamberlain of Fairyland. We will polish all our dewdrops most beautifully and hang them on the grasses and the fairies who lived in the dewy field. And we'll go and ask the blackberries to grow very black and sweet so that when the queen comes along, she may pick some for herself, cried the lane fairies, flying off at once. The trees will grow they'll grow their very best roses, said the palace gardeners joyfully, and perhaps the dear queen will pick one for her buttonhole. See that glorious supper is prepared for Her Majesty, commanded the Lord High Chamberlain, turning to the fairy cooks. Oh, yes, cried the cooks. We'll make a big sugar cake shaped just like a castle and a pudding with jam on top and cream underneath. Ooh, that sounds a bit like a Victoria sponge, and that is Grandad's favourite. Only the wood fairies said nothing. What will you do to welcome back the Queen? Asked the Lord High Chamberlain. We don't know, they answered suddenly. The trees have lost their beautiful fresh spring green, and they look dark and tired. Now it's autumn. Couldn't you brighten them up a bit? Asked the Chamberlain. Why don't you hang some flags on them? Oh, they wouldn't like that, said the wood fairies. But we will go and ask them. Off they flew to the beech wood. They told the trees that the Queen was coming home in 2 weeks, and made them most excited about it. They waved their branches about as they talked. What can we do to welcome her back? They asked. I've no idea, suddenly said a wood fairy, but I don't know if you'd like it. Tell us, begged the trees. Well, you're dusty and dark green now, said the fairy, but if you let us paint you a gay colour, look lovely. Oh, do, said the trees. Oh, I don't think we could do that, said the chief fairy. The paint would make your leaves look lovely, but it might kill them too and make them drop off. We wouldn't mind, even if it hurts, said all the trees. We love the Queen, and we'd do anything to make things beautiful for when she came home. All right, answered the wood fairies. We'll go and get some brown paint for you. They flew off at once and mixed some beautiful gold brown paint. They told the lane fairies what they were going to do with it. What a splendid idea, they said. We'll ask the blackberries if they'd like their leaves painted red. We are sure they would. The idea spread all through the woods and the lanes and the hedges. The wood fairies were very, very busy. They sat up in the beech trees and painted every leaf a lovely golden brown. The lane fairies made the blackberry brambles perfectly beautiful with red leaves, and all the other trees, oak, hawthorn and elm, begged to be painted too. On the day that the Queen was expected home, Fairyland looked simply gorgeous. The beech wood was waving was a waving glory of gold. The other trees shone red, brown, or yellow, and as for the creeper over the palace wall, well, it almost made you blink to look at it. It was such a brilliant red. "What has happened to all the trees?" she cried. "How beautiful they are! What have the wood fairies been doing?" "They've painted our leaves," whispered the trees proudly. "But that will soon make your leaves fall off," said the Queen. "They'll grow again in the spring," answered the trees, as one of the gold-brown leaves fluttered down for the Queen to tread on. "And we don't mind, if only you're pleased and happy." "Oh, it's a lovely homecoming," cried the Queen, "and everything does look so wonderfully beautiful. Don't you think we could always make things look like this in the autumn?" "Yes, let's," cried the fairies and all the trees. "We'd love to." So every year now, directly the autumn comes, the beeches and the blackberry bushes, the oaks and the creepers were all painted in gold and brown, red, yellow and orange, just as they were ages ago when the Fairy Queen was welcomed home from the Dream Sea. That's why we have autumn, isn't it? And it is such a pretty time of year, isn't it? When all the leaves flutter down off the trees and they're all golden brown. So now you know. It's all the fairies painting, and they're very busy, aren't they? Because there must be millions and millions and millions of leaves to paint. That was a lovely story, wasn't it? A lovely welcome home. So tomorrow we've got, Little Red Riding Hood. So look forward to that. So you sleep well, you be good. I love you loads and loads, and I'll see you tomorrow. So I love you, Atty. I love you, Torben. I love you, Ruby. And I love you, Max. You take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.